424-8663 now and get your barrels shipped and cleared hassle-free to Jamaica. E&W Shipping, your ship and clear company.
Are you ready to feel your best? At Goot Wellness Spa, we're healing the body one drop at a time. Located right here in Tucker, Georgia, Goot Wellness is your destination for total health and wellness. We specialize in immune system support, detoxifying therapies, and even cutting-edge treatments like the X39 patch for stem cell activation. Imagine revitalizing your body from the inside out. Whether you're looking to boost your immune system, cleanse and detoxify, or explore green nutrition guidance, Goot Wellness is here for you. Visit us at 2122 Vistadale Court in Tucker, Georgia, or call us at 770-605-6687 and start your journey to optimal health. Goot Wellness Spa, healing the body one drop at a time.
Looking for a church home?
Come worship with Church Beyond Walls Ministries,
Well, we welcome you with open arms.
Join Pastor AC
And Dr. Chris Scott.
for the Hour of Power on Sunday mornings at 10:30 a.m.
Visit with us for a wonderful worship experience and the Word.
Located at 2822 Randall Street, Atlanta, Georgia, 30344.
Find us on the web at www.churchbeyondwalls.com.
Jesus loves you.
And so do we.
Mountains of Gold Production presents Thanksgiving unto the Lord Gospel Fest 2024.
Doxology say.
Saturday, November 23rd at 4190 River Lake Way, Snellville, Georgia.
Featuring guest artist
Reverend Dr. Jermaine Gordon.
You are God, holy and righteous.
Lee Priest Johnson.
Are you ready? You looking forward? Hey.
Carlington Roberts.
Where he leads me, I will follow. In his presence, I will hide.
John Wayne Bailey, Renice Lamore from New York City, Janet Lewis, all backed by Doxology Band. MC for the night, Dr. Monica. Tickets for Thanksgiving unto the Lord, $35 pre-sold, $40 at the venue. For more information, 850-221-5440. Thanksgiving unto the Lord, Gospel Fest 2024.
Doors open at 5 p.m. and refreshments are on sale. You can't afford to miss this. See you there.
Please no lean by me shoulder. Keep on no problem and well. Come in now and them set me up for something cheap. People come can me. Them now want me fulfill me dream. Them gonna mass Charlie. This is all of my life, all of my days, all my ancestors that passed it away. All of my quest die without a penny. Some try to be better, but distance away. I check on my friends and check on my wife. Things could be better, but tricks and the lies. So cruel and vicious, wicked like tobacco. The feet off the feet will survive. Man, if you try to stop my food, that mean we gon' fight. Mama, feel live happy, I feel rich and I.
Hey now. It's me, Stacey Woods, your girl, your host, reading to feed the mind. And today, y'all, I'm still feeling it from last week. But before I get started, I want to remind everybody, December 4th is our first book club reading. We're reading The Wedding and Disaster of Philona Mabel by Ken Bivens. He's going to be in the house. I haven't received any emails, so I don't know if y'all going to participate, but we're going to be here. We're going to have a good time. Y'all heard all that countryness came out. Anyway, I'm from Georgia. But anyway, y'all, so December 4th, if you are wanting to join in, we're going to have a couple of people in the studio. We're going to have Zoom. So if you want to join in, please go to RT as in Tom, F as in Frank, Mind, MIND, at, no, oh Lord. Go to our website, rtfmind.com, click on Contact Us, and then fill out that form, and I'll respond. So that you can be a part of everything. Things have been really good and crazy busy over the last week or so. So I'm going to check tonight. If you've already requested, thank you so much. I'll be in touch. But so I'm excited. That's going to be our first book club book, and then I'll be announcing the next book after that. So tonight, in lieu of everything, last week, I didn't really have a long show because I was feeling in my feelings, and I've been in my feelings a lot. But anyway, so over this election thing. And it's extremely divisive. Black women, we're tired. We're tired. So we're taking a break. And I've been seeing posts like on TikTok and Facebook how women are saying, don't talk to us, leave us alone. And I'll be honest, I wasn't active. I didn't call a lot. I didn't volunteer or anything like that. But in my circle, I talked about it, and I post on my social medias, and I was feeling it. We all were feeling so good about it. We really thought we had something, and it hurts because I really think they played us to a certain extent. I think more people perpetrated interest, and obviously it wasn't there, or who knows? But who knows why people really voted the way they did. And, some people see good in their choice and, whatever. And then I'm starting to hear slightly that there was maybe some regret. I've just heard it talked about. I don't know that it's, true or what the statistics are behind it. But, how people were Googling, hey, how can I change my vote or whatever. But anyway, so tonight, in the whole reading to feed your mind mindset, I think we got to move to a place where we understand and start preparing ourselves, because we don't know what's coming down the pike, y'all. We don't know. He's putting people in office and he's doing all of this, and some is like, oh, well, wait, man, yeah. Who knows what's going on? People who have talked badly about him, now he's giving them position in the administration. And it's just like, we just don't know. So tonight, I'm just going to talk about a couple of things that we need to start doing just to make sure that we're prepared, right? That you're getting your house in order. We need to do it collectively. But as Black people, we always say the same thing, like it's hard for us to come together and do things, especially African American Black folk. We've lost trust in each other. We've lost trust in each other. We have the ones that have a better life because they adapt more to the Caucasian side of things, living in the neighborhoods, the children in the schools. They've done very well and affluent in their lives. So it's hard, not all of them, because I have friends that, falls in that category, but who are very conscious of, what's going on and their ethnicity and all of that good stuff. But, so what I'm doing and what I'm suggesting to people is get in your pod, in your community, right? In your family, in your group. You've got to strengthen that. And then as we merge and we see, groups that's flowing in the same way, then, collectively, I think we're going to have to snowball this thing. Rather than trying to, everybody come together, da-da-da-da-da. We're going to have to snowball it. We're going to have to start small, like I said, with our families. And then I think it's going to grow larger and everything. And then the other thing that I don't think we need to be doing is broadcasting a lot about what we doing, like I'm doing, on the podcast. You know, nothing specific is not what I'm talking about, but just in general, I think you need in your pod, in your community, you need to make sure your finances are in order. Get all of your stuff in order, right? So that you're not having to depend on nobody. I don't care what check comes out. You should not be depending on that check. That check should be, oh, okay, icing on the cake of what I'm already doing. You shouldn't be dependent on that, because whatever is given, if it's given at all, which it probably won't, you know, it's not going to make a major difference in your life if you sit down and calculate it. Somebody told me, and I can't remember who said this, but they were saying that they heard a podcast where people were calculating that, you know, that those stipend checks, those checks that were given out, and everybody was so excited. But then you calculate that over the year, it comes out to pennies. You know, nothing that you really can really make a difference in your life, right? Because the price of everything is going up. And so whatever they give you is not going to last long. So you sow your soul for a check. That's not going to really make a difference. But anyway, so some steps to take, some things that we need to be doing. And because I'm talking about books, my podcast is about books, y'all need to start reading, right? Because, and you can start with Project 2025. And yeah, it's almost 1,000 pages long. But again, and I've said this before, if you don't do nothing else, go to Chat GPT and ask it to summarize Project 2025. And when it does, it doesn't go in as deep of a detail. I mean, it gives you top line. And reading it, some of this stuff, y'all really, you read it and it's like, well, that don't really sound like it's too bad. But you got to go. You got to go into detail, right? Like, so I asked Project 2020, I said, first I said, summarize Project 2025. And it just gave me a 2-paragraph thing, you know, like it is an initiative by the Heritage Foundation and a coalition of conservative organizations aimed at reshaping the federal government should a conservative administration come into power in 2025. And so you say, okay, but the words that triggers me is conservative. And why would it only be for a conservative administration if it's to benefit the people of the United States? It should have been something that was put together for anybody that was in office, but it's specifically for the conservative administration. And you know, conservative is restrictive, and we've heard, you understand what conservative means. The project's primary objectives include reducing the size of the government, restructuring federal agencies, and implementing policies that align with conservative priorities in areas like the economy, national security, and regulatory reform. A key component is assembling a large database of vetted conservative professionals who could fill government positions and support this transformation. And that in and of itself is scary, y'all, because once you understand who the conservative party really is, you know, you got to research that deeper. And conservatives are people who tend to be isolated. And those are the people who only want a certain race to be in the majority and to be in control, which is totally dangerous, right? So that's when your antennas should be going up. So then I said, well, hey, summarize each section of Project 2025. So then it breaks down. There are about, let's see how many, there are 5 overall sections: policy recommendations, government restructuring, personnel and leadership training, legal framework and executive orders, and public engagement and communication. And then I just said, okay, we'll go deeper. let's talk about I asked, what does the policy recommendation section of Project 2025 say? And so then it broke it down. It goes into economic policies, national defense and security, immigration reform, social, environmental, healthcare reform, and federal bureaucracy and regulatory reforms, right? So this is how you get at least a top line where you don't have to read word for word. So under just the policy recommendations, which is the first section, that's just the first section of the Project 2025. So some of the things for economic policy is reducing government spending, lowering taxes, and removing regulations that are seen as barriers to business growth. Now that sounds pretty good, right? Lowering taxes, okay. Emphasis is placed on fostering a free market economy, promoting job creation, and increasing energy independence. Deregulation of industries, particularly in energy, is a major priority, with a focus on reducing restrictions on oil, gas, and coal production. So then you would have to dig even deeper, but what kind of restrictions on oil, gas, and coal production? Right? Well, then he's already said he wants to put more tariffs on stuff. We primarily, and y'all correct me if I'm wrong, get our oil from other countries. We produce some oil here, but we primarily rely on other countries. So what kind of restrictions? And that's probably where you would want to dig deeper. So then I would ask ChatGPT, go deeper into the economic policy portion. And it does, it goes deeper. And then national defense and security. This is advocating for a robust national defense policy with increased military funding and a stronger stance on global threats, particularly in relation to China and other rival nations. And so we've heard him say, we've heard him say, that China is one of the places he wants to put the tariffs, right? And anything they can't control and they're not the majority in, they're going to want to put some kind of stringency around it. And then immigration reform proposes strict immigration policies, emphasizing border control and the enforcement of existing immigration laws. It suggests measures to curb illegal immigration, streamline legal immigration processes to prioritize skilled workers, and reduce the number of asylum seekers. The recommendation include expanding physical barriers and employing more advanced technology at the borders. And again, this is top line, just a summary of it, which in the end, for those who understand that it is, and I know it's a problem, it's somewhat of an issue, and I'm not going to go deep, but it wasn't an issue to me personally, because I saw the transition from, these people, illegal aliens, and, them being used to build up stuff to, because it was a time when they were coming over, they were taking these construction jobs that black men were no longer taking because it was at a lower pay rate. My sister's father used to be in construction, and I remember him clearly. This was probably like mid-90s, early 90s. This would have been like in the early 90s, right? That, early to mid-90s. No, early 90s. Okay, I'm going to go on with it. That we had this conversation, and he was like, these black men don't want to do the job, so we getting these, we have to get the Mexicans, and I'm just using Mexican as a general term. I understand it's not all Mexicans. But we have to get them to do it because black men don't want to do it. It's not paying them enough. And that was the going thing, and that was fine. They have built up so much in these communities. And when they got to a point where they were like, okay, so now I want some respect. I want some rights. And it wasn't, to me, it wasn't until then that it became an issue. And that's when they started, oh, illegal aliens. You know, now that you can't use us anymore, now that that's what was happening. Now that we can't just keep using them, paying them just a little bit of something, you know, and pushing them on, now they want rights. Now they want respects, because this is what I learned years ago when I first got into facilitation. And I was at Comcast, when it was Comcast. Y'all know it's Xfinity now and all of that, and it went through several changes. But when it was Comcast, I was working there. I was a facilitator for new hire orientation in the call center. And I did a whole Hispanic new hire class of Hispanics. And that's where I learned. You know, we take for granted because they come into our country. They really can't speak our language well. While they're learning the language, they're cleaning our homes, they're doing the construction, they're doing all of these. And we automatically assume that that's all they know. But what I learned when I did this class is that a lot of them are doctors. They may be doctors, lawyers, they're nurses, well educated in their country, but they don't know the language. They don't have licenses over here to work. So when they come over here, they are coming over here for a better situation, a better opportunity for their families. Once they learn the language, now I'm on my feet. Let me see what I need to do now to become licensed in America to be a doctor. I want more for myself than just these little jobs. And that's when it became an issue with them being in this country, because they weren't going to just be little lap dogs and do the little bit of stuff that we need y'all to do and go on about their business, right? Pleasant Hill Road in Gwinnett County was built by Hispanics, because that's what they did when they were running away, because black people were coming more to the Stone Mountain area. I told y'all not to get me started. Black people were moving in, you know, that whole white flight thing. They white flighted to Pleasant Hill Road using Hispanics to build up everything. Oh, they had all of these houses, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. But they didn't know that the Hispanics was going to move in some of these apartments that y'all got. And black folk got cars, so hey, it's another community. So that's when the Bufords, that's when the Swanees got built up, because of all of the white flight. But anyway, I'm not getting into all of that. So as you read through this, and I say, because I don't know that I'm going to get all thousand pages, but I'm reading this, and then I'm listening to people like Joy Reid, Don Lemon. I'm listening to those kind of shows, D.L. Hughley, those people who are politically savvy and educated. I'm listening to them as well. So if you don't want to read, you don't want to do this, associate yourself with credible people, like the Joy Reids, the Don Lemons, the D.L. Hughleys, the, Al Sharptons, and the, what is his name? Ooh, it'll come to me. Anyway, associate yourself with those kind of people. Listen to them. You know, get on some good, reliable podcasts. And then you have to listen to more than one person, because people are biased. And people are going to twist things and tell things the way that they want them said. But if you listen to different people, you hear a consistency. Watching The View always brings on great people. But you'll hear a consistency in what people are saying, right? And so educate yourselves. Now, this is the other thing that I would do, because, you know, with education, and it's been said that they want to, government restructuring. They got departmental consolidation, combining departments or offices with overlapping functions, particularly in areas like environmental regulation and social services, to cut costs and improve efficiency. And then, you know, they're talking about, I was trying to see if it's pointed out in here, but they want to get rid of the Department of Education. Y'all know everything that's been going on in these last couple of years, where they're trying to, you know, eliminate books. They're trying to rewrite history. So the other part of what you should be doing, what the young people need to be doing, You got current books today that talks about the political things, and those are great, but if you don't understand history, you're doomed to repeat yourself, right? So you had authors like James Weldon Johnson and the autobiography of an ex-colored man. You had books like this where he was light enough and he would go kind of undercover. He would do what they call passing back in those days, because this book was originally written in, well, it was rewritten in 1989, but the first one was written in 1960, right? And so he gives an account of his experiences living as a white man, because he passed. So he, and he wrote about it. Faces at the Bottom of the Well. These are books that I have at home that honestly, I have not read them. They're on my list to do. But just talking about racism, black consciousness. You got W.E.B. Du Bois, who was controversial. So you want to kind of read him. He was a little, he wasn't really accepted by a lot of people during his time. But he is the author of Lift Every Voice and Sing, our national anthem. But anyway, so you can read, and the reason why I say read these books, because when you read them, you're going to see that while we think a lot has changed, a lot has not changed. And you'll understand when people are talking about your ancestors and all the things our ancestors went through, you'll understand what they're talking about, because the way was paved for us by all of these people like James Weldon Johnson and W.E.B. Du Bois, and who wrote not Derek Bell is current, because the Faces at the Bottom of the Well deals a lot with how we interrelate with each other, but what they're trying to do is to get us to really dig deep and understand the whole mindset. I've heard and I've listened to a couple of videos. One of them was, I think it's Jane Elliott, and she's a white lady that has done a lot of study, I won't say a lot, but she's done several studies on blacks, the racism, race relations. And it's amazing, because she talks about, and I know I probably said her name wrong. It's Jane Elliott. And I posted a video on my Facebook page, and she really breaks it down. And then I posted another video, and where this Asian guy is interviewing this older white man, this middle-aged white man. And both are saying, y'all, this whole abortion thing is not about the act of abortion. It's them being afraid that they're not going to be or stay the majority in this country, because they can only rule what they're majority of, right? And so it's understanding things like that. So when you go back and read some of these books, and these are just 3, there's a lot of them, other books out there that you can read that depicts our history, autobiography of Malcolm X. It was more about his life, but in reading that, you understood what they were going through, right? And so, because if you understand that, for me, and I've told y'all this before on my earlier podcast, when I was in elementary school and I read those books on, Sojourner Truth, Harriet Tubman, those little cute little history books that told us about it, and then as I got older and I learned more, it helps you understand why it is so important for us in this day to maintain ourselves, to keep ourselves up, because these people fought for us to even be able to do the things that we're doing today, right? And so when you read these books, it's going to be a reminder, because you're going to hear things that's like, oh my God, we still we still going through this. We still going through this. Even in our songs, y'all, Fight the Power, Isley Brothers. You know, listen to some of these older songs. And so in realizing that we've been struggling for a long time and now we're still struggling, helps you to fight the fight from being put back in that position, right? And so being put back in a place where we're the underdogs, where we're struggling, where we're working. Because it still happens to this day, but it hasn't been able to be as blatant as it used to be. And if we're not careful, it's going to go back to that same blatancy, because you won't have the protection in these court systems, you know, because look at, like I said, they are trying to put, when I read that earlier, they are wanting to put people in place that thinks the same way they think, that's going to focus and keep it conservative. That's just a soft word or polite word to say, you know, in total control. Conservative. Conservative means our group, keeping us right here together. Because when you realistically look at it, a lot of older black people, even in my generation, I'm a Gen Xer. Even in my generation, black people are more conservative. We used to be more conservative. There were certain things that we didn't do, we didn't believe in, we kept ourselves at a certain, you know, level. We didn't do all of the crazy stuff, you know, that a lot of other people were doing, even though they called themselves conservative. They were doing a lot of crazy stuff, but we starting to do it now. And I don't want to just ramble. So the next thing, and I got my friend and boss agreed that he would sit in with me on this one, because I want to talk about, I have in my group of friends, you know, everybody, and that's the strain. People are losing friendships over this thing, because we have one anomaly, an outlier in our group. We have a couple that really supports Trump. And the husband, we guess, is more of a supporter than the wife, but we're never, you know, husband, wife, I'm just going to say they are supporters of Trump. And, you know, to keep the peace, it's like, hey, okay, I know, you know, I know what your mindset, I know how you think. When we get together, let's keep it all peaceful. We're here for a good time. Don't discuss politics. Don't discuss religion. And so the husbands have a group, and, you know, that husband wants to post all his Trump did this and Trump did da-da-da-da-da-da. And so it causes tension, right? Because it's like, go sit down with that. You are the outlier. And so if you're the outlier, then nobody wants to hear this, right? And then, so the reason why I'm getting ready to bring my wonderful boss on to talk about this is because this particular man is a Nigerian. And so for me, you know, I'm like, how in the world can somebody black as you, and it's a lot of y'all out there, you know, support this man? What is the reason? So Lawrence agreed that he would come on for this last half, and we would just talk about it. You know, Lawrence is from Guyana, and, you know, we're here at Caribbean Life TV, and I just want to get a perspective. No, Lawrence is not a Trump supporter, but he felt like he could give me some kind of insight on possibly why. And so for me, I tried to stop being irritated by him, because for me, the way I look at it is like, okay, first of all, he's not an African American, so he doesn't know our struggle, nor does he care to understand it, right? And to understand how he too could be in this position. And you know, and my whole thing with black people who are supporters of Trump, not even so much Republican, because it was a time if you met a black Republican, you go, oh, okay, he must make some money then, he Republican, whatever. And it didn't really bother you, but to be a Republican and stand behind someone like a Trump really bothers me. But then I started to say, okay, well, he's not from a country where he's experienced being a minority in that country. Coming from Africa, blacks are a majority. They make up the country, right? And so you come over here, and hey, he just figures it's a better, I guess he came here. I won't say a better life because I don't know what his life was like in Nigeria. But at some point, you coming over here for opportunities, and you feel like your opportunities are best with Caucasian people and in a Caucasian environment and supporting with Caucasians. And again, that's your choice. But at the same time, I can't allow you to disrespect me by trying to push a mindset or a message that's not willing to be received. So I'm waiting for Lawrence to come back so he can join me, because I just want to understand, especially when you're not from this country, right? So now you got the camera to show on you, Lawrence. You setting it up. So now we just gonna have this conversation. Now, okay, because me and Lawrence will talk. We will talk all night. So it's 7:08. We got to end at 7:30. All right.
No, you're good.
Okay, so what is your thought on that? As a black man, not native of America, but have been here forever and a day, and you're still true to your country and to your culture, how do you explain it? How do you explain it? Or what are your thoughts behind it?
Well, I can't explain his thoughts because, he came to that conclusion based on his experiences. Being in America doesn't make you a particular party. It is we say indoctrination, right? So prior to coming to America, he probably didn't know the difference. America opportunity. Coming from Africa could be different for him because I came from South America. And in South America, yes, we had a black president and black folks. So when we were suffering, it had nothing to do with white or black. Mm-hmm. It just had to do with economics, right? So the rich get richer, the same scenario. So I can't speak on why he made that decision to vote for Trump or anything like that. But what I recognize in this journey through this election, 95% of the young black folks that I spoke with was voting for Trump, and they were not from Nigeria.
Okay.
How do we reconcile with that, right? So in your group, he's an outlier. But in America, that is a widely formed opinion that life will be better under a Trump administration for them as black folks. So my poll that I was able to assess through this election process was 95% of the young black folks that I spoke with was voting for Trump. And this is the reason they gave me. They said Kamala Harris had 3.5 years. Right? 3.5 years. Why? Because she had access to the most powerful person in the world's ear, which is the president. And the agenda and promises that she put forth as she was tapped for this run for office should have been what she was about the whole time. And so they didn't believe her now caring about black people. It didn't resonate with them because we had high housing for the last 3.5 years. Mm-hmm. And it was under her president and her being the second in charge, and nothing changed. The only time that we got promised all these new houses being built for us to alleviate the pain is now that she's running for office. But when you had the power and the access, which you were the closest person to the ear of the most powerful person that could have changed it for us for the last 3.5 years, it only started to show itself as a promise now that you won our vote. So they didn't get it. And that was Black American. This was not an African or Africans, not one African. So what that told me in my assessment is that the candidate wasn't believable in what she was promising. Secondly, the Black folks that I spoke with, again, not African or Nigerian, they were telling me that her record as someone running for office, in office as a prosecutor, was detrimental to Black men when she was in that position. Understood. So they felt some type of way then, knowing who she was as a prosecutor, and it didn't translate. She didn't clear that imagery up in the 3.5 years that she had access to the same people. So in the last 3 months or 6 months, whenever she got the nod, it wasn't enough time for her to turn the page on these Black Americans' opinion of her. And because she had that long hair, lighter complected look, she passed, like most people in that color range passed. So her ethnicity wasn't a focal point in her being the second most powerful person in the world for 3.5 years. And they felt, Black Americans that I spoke with, felt that in the last whatever running period that she had, that became an emphasis, not because of her maybe, could have been what Trump pointed out, like, are you Black now? Because she was attempting to court the Black vote. So my opinion about this the Nigerian person in the group that's an outlier in the group, it is only reason why it is affecting you guys is because it's in a tight group or a smaller group. But when you look at the wider picture, the wider demographics, and the red map of the country in terms of how Trump won, he didn't have to call fraud because everyone told him that they want him. So 71 million, 72 million people said to him, I want you. And 60-something million said to her, we wanted you. When we looked at money, she wasn't at a disadvantage financially in order to execute her election campaign because she had the funds. What they felt and shared with me in my polling is that she put on concerts with all the popular people and went that route to get the crowd out, but she didn't go into those same areas that Biden won by a higher margin in those traditionally Democratic areas. So even in areas where the Democratic Party had more votes, it still wasn't as much as Biden. And he was the older, shaky, dementia man and all this stuff, but he still outperformed her 4 years ago. So the numbers matched the opinion of the people that I spoke with. To bring it back home to the conversation about the outlier in the group, he could have been fed some of the other information that allowed him to come to a conclusion why Trump and supporting Trump was his best choice for him. And I don't think it had anything to do as a foreigner because...
No, but he was a Trump supporter even when he was in office. So this was before Kamala and everything else.
So what I'm saying, he formed an opinion just like every other Trump supporter that has been locked in before the charges, before all these cases. And so to add my opinion to this conversation, I'm looking at the broader picture of the other Black Americans that is not Nigerian that felt the same daggone way. And they felt that way because Trump was able to, in a smooth way, let them be convinced that a billionaire that is systematically and historically has not been to our benefit. So they know it. And
They
then
would rather have him
than a black woman. Than a black woman. We got to call it for what it is. Because Kamala is a highly educated, well-accomplished person. But I think America was ready for Obama.
But they weren't ready for her.
A black female, the same way that they weren't ready for. Anytime that you have Trump running up against a woman, he's going to win.
So, okay, so let me stop you. All right, and I appreciate you sharing your points. And I heard that same thing. I have a cousin who sat there and he said, and he's that younger generation, the millennial, Gen Z or whatever. He said the same thing. But one thing that people, I guess, they're holding Kamala to a standard that no other vice president has ever been. Because if you look at the role of a vice president, what vice president has ever? A vice president can't make laws. A vice president can't enforce changes. The vice president is there to support the president. You've never seen a vice president go against the president. That's not their role, right? They're the yes man and the backup for if anything go down for the president, then they're ready to step in. So yes, Kamala, she was saying a lot of stuff, and I heard that over and over. Well, you ain't did nothing in 3.5 years, then you don't know you missed what was it? Political what some of the classes, your social studies class, you didn't pay attention, and your political science class, you must have slept all the way through because the roles are not structured where Kamala can do anything. Yeah, she can be in his ear, and I agree, and I can say, but then you don't know how the history, you don't know the structure of our government, because a vice president can never have a rule. What's his name couldn't even turn over the election the way Trump. Pence, he couldn't do, because that is not his role. He does not have that power. A vice president does not have that power. Now, to the whole thing, because these were the things that my cousin was saying, and to the whole thing with her prosecution of black men. Okay, first of all, stop doing damn crime, and then you ain't got to even be in court to even have to be prosecuted for nothing. Second of all, with people like Kamala Harris, they're a prosecutor. If you've committed a crime, you got to pay the cost of it. But what Kamala was trying to do, and black women, because my cousin even brought up Fonnie Willis, she just doing what Fonnie Willis is doing. Those people, when you got a black prosecutor, they're not trying to get you off from the crime. They're trying to make sure that your black ass ain't finna get more than the white man that did the same crime that you did. They can't get you off for doing a crime. Right. You got to do the time, but as a black prosecutor, they're there to make sure that if you get caught with an ounce, I don't know how to even say it, with a kilo of cocaine, and a white boy get caught with a kilo of cocaine, they're making sure that if the time that you're supposed to get in the books is 20 years, they're making sure that both of y'all get 20 years instead of your black behind getting 50 and the white boy getting 10. That's what black prosecutors are there to do. They're not there to get y'all off and just, so again, first of all, stop doing the crime. And then you don't even have to be in that position. But when you are, those prosecutors are trying to make sure that you're getting fair sentences. That's what they're doing. They're not in there to make it easy for you and get it off. Why? Why should they?
I don't think that's what the voters that didn't vote for her.
But when they're talking, but no.
They just said that disproportionately, it seemed that, to your point exactly.
But it's not disproportionate. You did the crime. You're not finna get off. Okay, now true. There might be, But there again, that's that racial divide. That's that systematic racism. Because going back, a black boy got a black man kilo of cocaine, white man kilo of cocaine. Black man got his his lawyer, the white man got his lawyer. All right? So yeah, sometimes they are still able to get less time because that lawyer that they may have got more connections or got favors or may be able to be in a position to pull certain things. Black folk ain't gonna have, because then there again, y'all not understanding that it's still black folk can't do what white people do. Plain and simple. That man yesterday in that hotel, all of that shooting that he was doing, it was a white man. In, what was it? I forget, in Buckhead.
It was yesterday? I think it was a little while ago.
No, this was just yesterday or the day before. It's been in the last couple of days.
Okay.
It's been recent. Now, Buddy is in his apartment on the 20th side, up high. Got guns, shooting out the window, throwing stuff out the window. He just threatening people. The building manager came up because somebody was reporting loud noise and him doing stuff. He comes up, the man pulls a gun on him, telling him to go away. He calls the police. The police come. Now, you got a marksman in another building. And all they do is graze the side of that man's head. You know good and well, had that man been black, they would have blew him away. Right? So it's just, and I'm saying all that to say, stop trying to hold black people. We always do that to each other. We try to hold each other to such a higher standard than what we expect from white people. And I understand what they're saying, but again, know your history, understand politics, understand stuff before you just start, she just doing da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And everybody has an opinion, but you got me off. You got me off because what I was trying to bring you on and talk about, I know you couldn't, specify why the Nigerian was voting that way, but I wanted
I was telling you about black Americans, but you're not up in arms about the black Americans that is voting that way and is feeling that way and is communicating that. They're the ones that did it, not the Nigerian.
No.
Black folks is the ones that help. And Mexican men or Spanish men or Hispanic men.
But if
put him over the top.
I don't know if he's an official citizen yet. I don't know. He might be because he's been here a while. So he might be. But my whole thing is,
he could only vote if he's a citizen.
Huh?
He could only vote if
he's a citizen. That's correct. That's correct.
Yeah.
So he's a citizen. But my whole thing is I wanted you to speak more from the point of a black person
from another country.
From another country.
And
how you view
Trump?
Not just Trump, but just because a lot of times I think I get it. Well, sometimes you all come over and it's a whole thing of, not you, but there have been instances where you get, we're judged.
Yeah.
And they think.
Well, let me tell you the story. You got to understand the country that you're living in is extremely powerful. So what they've done is set the narrative before we even get here.
Okay, that's what I want you to talk about.
Right. So before I got here, I already knew that a high percentage might just sit around and take life as it is, sit on the porch, drink liquor, smoke, and might not be as ambitious.
And who told you that?
It's fed. Media have a way, it's not a specific person because it's subliminal. Mm-hmm. The same way that I knew about McDonald's, but they've never seen a McDonald's store, but the commercial sneakily just comes up on your TV. Mm-hmm. So before you get here, by the time you get here,
you just want to go to McDonald's.
You really do. And my quick funny story is I got to McDonald's because I want to go. but I didn't even know how to order at McDonald's.
Really?
And so it's not like I couldn't read English. I came from an English-speaking country, but I didn't know what that meant. A BLT back in the day, you know what I mean, or whatever those sandwiches were. I didn't know what a Big Mac meant.
Oh.
I didn't even know to call it a soda. I was calling it a sweet drink or a soft drink. Well, I knew it over there.
Yeah.
So there's a big difference. So for blacks that is coming from other countries, the common denominator for most of us that there's no safety net in our existence. And what that means is this. You're hungry because you didn't do enough. You didn't hustle enough, right? So there's no EBT card, ever. There's no safety net.
In your country?
In most countries.
Okay.
That's why America is one of the greatest countries in the world. So there's not let's say a welfare system, right? So they might have other countries that's well off that give you more time off for maternity leave and give you longer sick time and be more accommodating, like Norway and some of those other developed countries that have better systems than us and better medical systems than us, and their people are healthier because they're not trying to poison them. They don't have the influence of the big pharma. And so what I'm saying is that for a black person coming from the Caribbean, that I could speak from, or South America, Guyana, where I'm from, is that what is instilled in you there is self-sufficiency, right? So even the government said, well, okay, if you're poor and you might not be able to afford fresh vegetables, I'll give you the seeds. You plant them in your backyard. At least you could go get tomatoes, okras, all the things that is easy, simple, and you could feed yourself and sustain yourself. So the missing pieces might be rice, oil, some of the things that you got to help to cook the food. But even as a young child, I knew that part of the program to help you be self-sufficient was those type of programs, farming, and get you like that. When you come you come self-sufficient knowing that you got to hustle, and then you come with a hustler's mindset anyway, because to eat alone is the hustle. Just to eat and take care of yourself is the hustle. Over here, eating is, I could go by any church on any given day, or Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and I could get a bag full of groceries.
Here?
Yes. So that makes it lazy, make you lazier, because then, well, I work, I just show up, you know what I mean? And then charitable organizations is there all over to help you with that mindset. So I think when a black person comes, whether it's Nigerian, Guyana, South America, or whatever, we see America as easier. Like, so why are you a bum? Why are you lazy? Or why you don't want to get off the porch and stuff like that? So it helped to reinforce some of the stereotypical things that you've heard about black Americans before you get here.
Okay.
Because they're not trying to hide it from you when they come. So when you go to the neighborhood, they are on the porch. And they've been listening this morning. You come back home from work and they're still out there. I've seen that with my own eyes in every city that I've lived. And I've lived in all the rough cities. The Newarks, you know, the Brooklyns, this. And so I'm pointing that out to let you know that when you see that, it tend to reinforce some of the things that you said where there's a difference. Now, politically, I think that the Democrats bank on feeding blacks that they're the hope. They're going to give you the jobs, and they're going to raise your minimum wage, and they're going to fight for the middle class, and which, you know, we're not doing the trickle-down economics because it don't work, and we're going to help you. And what has been delusional for blacks, not Nigerians, blacks, because then we fall into that category, is that it really hurts for us as well. So the landlord here in Act said they don't raise your rent because you're asking to raise the rent because you're in a red line area where the rent is higher and you got to pay for all of us. And when I drive the streets of America, I am profiled as a black first before I start to speak. Nigerian or nah, it don't matter. They see a black and I get the full pain of being black in America. So that's one. Politically and voting, Trump specifically has done a masterful job, in my view, because I'm watching how he was able to be rich, be a billionaire, but then speak to the people that the Democrats should be speaking to and convincing. So in the last election, he was saying, hey, I'm rich, and I'm a rich man, and I'm going to give you a tax break, rich guy, but for you poor people that is redneck, low life, I'm going to say it.
Figure it out.
No, but what I'm saying is that he could able to talk to those people that might be considered, like how they call us that name, or see us black and poor. They have their own communities where we call them rednecks or whatever we want to call them. They're still that community. And what I found is that he has re-energized that community. And so they're not they're not better off with Trump because they're spending most of their money to buy his merch and wearing his hats. He's not giving all those folks those hats for free.
No.
So he's making money off of that community, and he was able to convince poorer people and disenfranchised people. His message, in my view, why he won, he was able to speak to black Americans and black Nigerians and black Caribbean folks and Hispanic men to let them know, listen, I'm speaking on your behalf, and did it in a convincing way where they were like, nah, I'm going to push that button for him and give him a try.
Well, I think
So that's why I think we lost. I think he was able to be more convincing in that argument. When Kamala said it, it resonated with some, but I think the people that didn't trust what she was saying, it didn't resonate with them because they didn't go out and vote for her.
Yeah, and I guess
That's what it is.
I guess that's no. I'm looking up something. I was trying to find this quote. I'm going to end the show with the quote from Lyndon B. Johnson, and Lyndon B. Johnson, he was the president. I forget what his number was. This is what he said, and this is the thing that when we're reading to feed your mind, and it opens you up and it helps you to understand. And this is why, and this is what they have done since forever. Lyndon B. Johnson said, if you can convince the lowest white man he's better than the best colored man, he won't notice you're picking his pocket. Hell, give him somebody to look down on, and he'll empty his pockets for you. And that's what they have done. I'm going to read it one more time. If you can convince the lowest white man he's better than the best colored man, he won't notice you're picking his pocket. Hell, give him somebody to look down on, and he'll empty his pockets for you.
That's what Trump has been.
And this is what Trump has been doing.
That's what he's been able to do twice.
And we're saying he's feeding it. He's keeping it going. Because he didn't create it. It was created back then. Hell, it was created during slavery because those were the overseers. The overseers were the poor white people. And they gave them a nice little house and then made them look over all of the black people. And when slaves were freed, they knew then that we got to make this white man, because now the overseers didn't have a job either. So you just as poor as the slaves are. You ain't got nothing either. But if I can make you feel like you are better than them black people, then I always got you on my side. I always got your support. And that's why, to this day, you can see the lowest white man, and they will be the first to call you the N-word.
Or tell you to go back to where you come from.
Tell you to go back, because they always, and that's how they keep them
and they're
going.
Irish white and Italian white
matter.
And Russian white, but they tell you to go back.
Yeah, and it doesn't
baffles
matter.
me, and people actually respond to that.
And because they know that they are better, and that's where the hate comes from. That's why those were the ones who destroyed all our communities.
Well, that's
right?
facts.
Those were the ones who burned down and killed and raped and lynched. Those were the ones. The wealthy white people were still getting money. They were somewhere collecting money. But it was those low white people who didn't have anything. But then here they see somebody black trying to do something, and they destroyed everything they did, because for them, you can't have better than me, right?
That is so right now.
Again, it's 7:36. I'm going to end it one more time with this so that we can understand, why That's the main reason why, because, people have said it. If you white and poor, why would you vote Republican? Because it's not for you. But they have made them feel so good about themselves. If you can convince the lowest white man he's better than the best colored man, he won't notice you're picking his pockets, and they picking the hell out of their pockets.
Yep. So I want, before you close, I want to, is there a reconciliation in your conversation about the outlier in your group? Knowing now there's other perspectives from African Americans that feel the same way, voted the same way as that Nigerian outlier.
Nope, because for me, anybody, black, white, yellow, green, purple, and blue.
So why they get a pass and he don't get a pass? It's like, you know what?
No. Let me finish. To me, anybody, and like I said, the way I approach him, I'm not gonna argue with him. Whatever. Hey, I want him to eat, just not at my table. But anybody that stands and supports Trump, I don't want in my circle.
Right.
And they can't, because how can you say you have integrity, but you support Trump?
Right.
34 count convicted felon.
Yeah.
And all the things, just not even that, all the things Trump has done throughout his years. How can you say you have integrity? Oh, you're a Christian. You value the family structure. When this man has been married, 3 or 4 times? And almost every time it's been a situation where he cheated on one wife with the woman, divorced her, married that one. Then you cheat on that one with that one, divorce her, marry. That's not integrity, right? The man lies. He lies. Every time he opens his mouth, he is telling a lie. And I said this. So to me, you can't, if you support him, and that's how I feel about him, because then you don't have integrity. You can't have integrity and stand behind somebody.
So then you need to remove that person from your group, because a decision has to be made. It's like this. If you know what you don't want, and it's an outlier or whatever, that group, if they all feel the opposite, there's no reason for them to continue that relationship with someone like that if that's the strongest feeling of the group. And in life, everybody want to be nice. And what I'm saying to you as you close is that person needs to go.
Yeah, well, that's how I feel.
Right.
But it's not, but see, this is the other thing. We all get along. Outside of this, he doesn't really come around a whole lot anyway.
He's uncomfortable.
Yeah. And his wife, but I'm not, it's like 10 of us who've been traveling together, loving each other for 20 something years, right? She's not been, and just like in a family, you got people, you're closer to some than you are others.
Yes.
So I'm not that close to her anyway. We're good. We've been knowing each other, hey, whatever. But so when we get together, we don't discuss politics, and we don't discuss, we stay away from that topic.
Right.
And for what we're together for, that's all that matters. We're together for entertainment. It's not my decision to say, oh, we're not going to be bothered with you. And I don't have that desire, because, see,
It's your decision to remove yourself, though.
Definitely. I can remove myself now. How would I remove myself? If there were things that my husband and I have discussed that we, going to kind of change the course of the way we do things when it comes to them. But it's not, it's not for me to say. And I'm not going, when I'm around them, like I said, I'm at a point now in my life where I can be around you and not be around you.
Understood.
I can be in the same room with you. And if it's 10 of us in a room, I'm not going to
They got 8 other people to talk to.
They got 8, and I got 8 other people to talk to as well. And that's how we do it. That's how we handle it. As long as you don't touch or say nothing to me, and I be cordial. I've had to learn cordiality. Oh my God, I've had to learn how to deal with people on a cordial basis in tight circles, and I can do that. But anyway, so we're gonna end the show tonight. I think it was a great show. Thank you, Lawrence, for coming on with me. And you went off to the side, but you may.
I was just telling you what America thinks because you was picking on him, and I was showing you.
That's not. I
that-
wasn't picking.
Not
on,
picking. You was using him foreigner, him black, him Nigerian.
Yeah, just
all of
to
that.
understand because you don't.
But that
it's
perspective
hard.
wasn't black
And I
Nigerian
understand
only,
that.
and I was trying
and
to point
a lot
that
of
out to
these
you.
young people, a lot of these young people think that way because they're tired of the old way of doing things. And
We
that's
got
how Trump-
270 people picking the presidency, and you're not worried who those people are?
No.
71 million people
No,
didn't
what I'm
matter.
saying, I do know this younger generation wants something different, and not even
They
just.
want
the
to know
young-
who those 270 people are, because they're the ones with the real power.
Yeah, I mean, and they're looking at it from a different perspective.
Who are those 270 people?
What you
It's not a
talking
different.
about?
That's the electoral college. What I'm saying.
Oh, yeah.
You got
yeah.
72 million and 60 something million, right? So that's over
Yeah.
150 million for 140 million people.
Yes.
That voices didn't matter. 270 people's that we don't really know.
who are supposed to be representative of. And then that's the thing. You do need to start looking at that
Let that be-
electoral college because it's like.
Who got the real power? I need to know. I need to be one of them folks.
And those are everyday people, though. That's the.
But you don't know
crazy
who they
thing,
are.
baby.
And with
I know.
Elon Musk with
I know.
$10 billion.
I know.
Who are those 270 people that changed
I
this
know.
whole election?
But yeah, nobody ever really talks a lot.
Okay, so
you
let
got to
that
do
be-
your
yeah,
research
let that be
and
what
find
it
out
is.
who your electoral college is. How did you get in there? And let's talk about it. How did you vote?
How you living? Let's
yeah,
see
and
where
how
your
you
money's
live
coming.
in. But it is. We just got to ride out these next 4 years. You know, honestly.
What is
I
your
had
plan?
said if he got back in, I was leaving. I was going to be sitting on the side of the road in Ghana selling fruit with hair braids.
Yep.
Because I would.
Well, you don't have to. Here's what it is. I'll tell you one good, nice ending way. As a black American that is disenfranchised with the results of the election, what I'm suggesting that you do, like most billionaires, is get outside of the system. So let your income come from you and what you create. Let the people around you be who you love upon and be focused
well, that's what
on.
I was saying in the beginning of the show. We got to start with our communities.
Yep.
And I didn't mention that about your own business, but
Yep, that's
Oh,
it.
Jesus.
Because all you got to do is let that work for you in
Yes.
4 years. So no matter who's in office, you're still good.
yes, and you know that's what Antoine says.
But Antoine is a smart man.
He says that, but it's scary, Lawrence.
Because you're an American as a consumer.
Yeah, it's.
You've been
it's
programmed
still-
that way as well.
Yeah, but it's still and you can't. But because history has shown us so different, and we pray that history doesn't, repeat itself. But that's some.
History needs to repeat itself.
No,
America needs to have this record. I promise you. Here's what it is.
Not like
they
it-
picked him, so they have to suffer the consequences of what they pick.
Well, let
Remember,
them.
I told you
don't
that.
want to suffer it
You
'cause
right
I
here.
didn't pick him. I didn't pick him.
Yeah.
But no, things like when you say that, when my house is in order, I got my finances in order, da 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 da. I'm gonna be all right. That's how a lot of people thinking. That's how they're
That's the
thinking.
wrong
And
way.
yes, and no matter who's in office, as long as my house is in order, I'm gonna be all right.
That's individualistic.
That was fine before Trump and now. You don't know what these people, because they're making America great again.
Right, and that's code word.
And exactly. So what I'm saying, you don't know what they will do. Your house could be paid for, you got your finances in order, and you all right. They could come because they've done it before. That's why they say it's so hard for black people to come together, because we've had such bad experiences like Tulsa, Black Wall Street. Those people had their lives in order, and it was burned down, taken, the land was taken. And that's just one of many, 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 many.
Yes.
Lake Lanier. I'll never go back to Lake Lanier again. And I used to love going, but I feel so bad because I did not know the history of Lake Lanier. So when you think about those black families who had their lives together, who had their money in order, and their homes and their communities or whatever, and how they were brutally murdered, killed, the land was stole from up under them, that's this kind of stuff that can go on. And that's the
It's been
stuff.
going on since the American Indians. Well,
But what
we
I'm
could keep
saying,
going.
Lawrence.
No, this is something that they rinse and repeat. Is what I'm saying to you. Listen, America will never change its ways. Never. The only way that America, it has to be burned to the ground. Remember, I told you that because it's like great cities, Rome, and all of those.
Atlanta.
Atlantis.
Atlanta during the Civil War.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
But what I'm trying to share is that it is a mindset. America voted because they truly feel that way. And so the reckoning that has to come from what they voted for has to unfold. Trump has to be in office to do the things to them for them to see, like you get burned. So now they put him in there. And my hope is that he learned from the last presidency. But what he's picked so far doesn't show that he has learned anything. He's now doubling down and reinforcing to make sure that he execute. Do you know that man got the Supreme Court locked, got
That's
both
what I'm
branches of
saying.
government locked, and the presidency? He has all four
That's what I'm
consolidated,
saying. So that's what I'm saying.
and 50% of the country.
And then you look at the states, right? How is your state set up? Because we have a Republican governor in our state. How is our House and how is our Senate, State House and Senate set
Republican.
up? That's what I'm saying. So then
It's coming down right here.
they all come together.
Everybody's gonna get in line.
You got
Stacey.
eminent domain. You got
Everybody's
all
gonna
of
get
that.
in line, Stacey. I'm scaring you some more, so you probably need a 2-hour show. But listen, everything that needs to be done will be done because he has every power, full power.
And so what do we do, Lawrence?
What we do is do what we do every day is take care of our families, love up on the people that we love, and make sure that we are independent of his decisions. And what that means is
But
this.
how can we be truly independent of his decisions?
Don't drink the Kool-Aid. Stand on your principles. I'm Guyanese. I'm gonna bring that Kool-Aid in there. Don't
No, y'all
right,
just
don't switch
give me
over.
a hard time when I say
Yeah,
it.
no. Don't like how the person that started this conversation switched because he got brainwashed with what he was told and he didn't do his research like you exhibited, and he was able to read that this play has been in place since previous presidents pointed it out. So I like that you did that research and pulled that up the way that you attempted to close the show, but that's real. That means he's not doing a new play. He's just rewinding an old play. So all we have to do is keep our minds right. It's 4 years. But what is scary is that if he has absolute power, he's going to change all of the systems so that we will never get back the power that we think we had. Because when you have full control, you have the right to put all the laws, and then you got a Supreme Court to back you up on everything that you do for the next 4 years. And then after 4 years, then whoever you put, because everybody's going to be scared of him because they see he has absolute power. Whoever he's choosing next, Don Jr. and Junior Jr., we are down a dark road that we only pray to God that somebody come and save us.
Who gonna save us? We gotta save ourselves,
Nope.
Lawrence. We just saying, Charger, get off the air. Clap. No.
That's your show. Finish up.
All right. Well, as I always say, thank y'all for joining us. I hope we shared some information, made some people think. Get your house in order, people. That's all you got. And like they say, that's all I'm thinking about is trying to get my house in order, having it in order, and keeping my kids, my daughter, my nephew, keeping them focused on keeping themselves together. I just don't know, and pray. Shucks, that's all you got to do is just pray. Pray for peace and pray for protection, and read to feed your minds. And when you're reading, when you're going back reading these books, try to keep yourself from being, getting mad and, I'm just going to do. Try to keep yourself from that, but just so you can be aware and to help build yourself and protect yourself, right?
Yes.
And get your house in order. Get your education. Get these kids off the street. Love your children. Just get them in order, y'all.
Focus on family.
Focus on family. Focus on family. Forget who got what, who doing what. If it ain't got anything to do with you, your family, and how you gonna make sure you survive and live. Everything else is just doesn't even need to be discussed.
Right.
And I've told y'all how I feel about trying to keep up with these celebrities. They got more money than y'all. If stuff go down, they gonna be all right. So forget who they sleeping with, who they married to, what they doing, who don't like who. You know, Cat Williams and Lee Sadiq. You know, every time you turn around, somebody fussing with somebody, and that's just the two that
It's distraction.
they got more money than me, so I'm not finna get caught up in it. But at the same time,
That's a play as well.
what
Media.
Yeah, media is a big play. Understand that. We've got to understand that. Oh my God, it's a huge play. They don't, because they only give you a little bit, and they, like you said, in your country, y'all were fed to think a certain way about us. And that's what happened. It hurt my heart when I found out, like in Africa, the white missionaries, they go over there, oh, we're just trying to help and whatever. But they were feeding them lies about us.
And then they said stories of the people that they're helping and make the perception of Africa that.
That's what I'm saying. They were feeding them lies about us.
And we the rich one. They came and took from us.
Okay, and then they
man.
fed
We gonna
us
keep going.
lies about them.
Yeah.
They only showed, you know, those
the flies.
rural areas, women walking around with no bra and you know, and all of that kind of stuff. So in our mind, as a little girl, I'm growing up, that's all I thought Africa was.
So
they were still living in huts
In the
and
80s, they
walking
asked me if I
around.
live in a hut.
Yep, because that's all they
And
showed
that was
us over
in
here.
Patterson, New Jersey.
That's all they showed us. And if you weren't black conscious, where you read books and exposed yourself to see more and learn more, and if all you had was a TV like Johannesburg, you know, we didn't really the song. What's the word? Johannesburg. But I didn't know. That's all I knew was the song. But as far as what I thought Africa was, I only had what was on the television. You know, and that didn't make me think less of them, but I'm like, oh, so y'all got TVs over there? Because that's all we saw, just like you saw. And then you come over here and you're in those communities, so you think that fed more into what your lives. You didn't know that there were accomplished black people. You didn't know to go.
I was shocked that New York was dirty
Yeah.
and rat infested.
Yeah.
The first day.
Yeah.
This is what I was going to swim to America for.
Yeah.
And I'm in South America, so it wasn't even possible.
Yeah.
But you wanted to come so bad based on the imagery.
Yes.
All right,
Yes.
so
yes.
next up.
Anyway, keep reading to feed your mind. Next week is going to be the 20th. We are going to, I'm going to keep it political because next week I want to discuss Barack Obama's book. And let me tell you which one I'm going to discuss next week. It will be Barack Obama, and it's going to be his, not the first one, but the one that he did right after he came out of the office, you know, and it was really good because, and I haven't finished it. I'll have it finished by next week. But I'm going to do Michelle Obama's not the light we carry. I know I'm bad. I am bad. Yes, I am. I'm bad. But what I'm going to talk about next week is A Promised Land by Barack Obama. Because I thought it was, from what I've done so far, I appreciated him sharing, he really gives the insight of his experiences as the president. And he shares a lot. Nothing secret. So I don't want people to think I'm thinking he's telling any secrets.
He did tell a secret, and I posted that on my Facebook.
Oh, he did?
He said that when you're in college, whether it's Harvard or any higher learning institution, because remember you saying go to college and you really find out that there's some really smart people there.
Oh yeah, I've heard him. Yeah, he
And
did.
there's some
Yeah,
really
that's
dumb,
not a secret.
I was
That's
messing
just
with
a
you,
reality.
and then when you get to the Senate, and you think, I'm
I
in the
saw
Senate.
that. Yeah.
And there's some really smart people there too, but there's some really dumb ones.
Oh, they're dumb. And that's what we find out. And that's something that I discuss when I'm talking to people about changing your mind for success. And I tell people, you know, it's like the only difference in me and somebody that didn't finish high school is just choices and opportunities. We all have the same opportunity. It's how you choose your life as to whether you're going to get to that opportunity or you can't. And people got to stop. I just couldn't do. You didn't do because you didn't choose right, but you can always correct it. Anybody can have anything they want, and that's a reality. Within you can have what you want if you really want it, and you ain't got to steal it to get it, but you can. It's through your choices. Yep. And how you get things done. So anyway, next week we're going to discuss A Promised Land by Barack Obama. It was enlightening. It gets for me, it was getting a little boring, and I think that's why I stopped, but only because he gets deep into the military thing, and I'm like, okay. But for somebody that's like into all of that, they love it, because I have a friend who's ex-military, and he really enjoyed it. And I enjoyed it too, but now that we've gone through all of this, I really want to get back to it. And I really want to, just talk about it. So that's what we're going to be doing. So as I always say, keep reading to feed your mind. Peace and love, y'all. See you next week.
Atlanta, your ship and clear company, E&W Shipping, is making it easy for your shipments to Jamaica this holiday season. Beginning right now, call 770-524-8663 and have your barrels